Hey everybody, welcome back. Down here in the basement this morning. This is actually January 1st, 2020. So this is the first video that I'm shooting in the new year. Obviously because of the delay in editing and getting the things uploaded and online. It's not the first video that you've seen in 2020. So anyways, this morning we're going to just look at 3 items that I picked. This was an unusual situation. It was a couple of months back actually that I spied an advertisement in Marketplace at a place about an hour away from here down in Connecticut, and the gentleman had these blueprint cabinets. Now those of you who have seen my all of my videos know that quite a while back in an estate sale I had picked up a blueprint cabinet with the intent of making some sort of a toolbox out of it, or maybe something that would be good for holding reamers or tool bits or cutters. And I never did get around to doing that. Part of the reason was because that thing is a center section. These things often were made in sections, so you would have a base and then you could stack multiple sections and then a top. Well, what ended up happening was I saw this ad for these cabinets, and there was like 3 of them in the picture, and one of them I could see had a base, and I think the ad said that they were 50 bucks. And I said to myself, wow, that's really a good deal. And then I contacted the individual right away and ended up being the first person to contact him. And come to find out, I got out there and they were 50 bucks for all 3. And I was like, wow, that's fantastic. So I think I ended up getting all 3 of them. And we were looking around at some of the other stuff there. And what ends up happening is I end up getting ready to leave. And the guy gets my attention and he says, hey, so I just talked to the owner of the building. He said, he saw that you bought those cabinets, and he says, if you want, there's one more over on the other side on the loading dock. So I go over to the other side and there's a 4th one there. So now I've got 4 of these big blueprint cabinets, and I haven't even moved them down here. They've been sitting outside in the winter weather for, you know, they're physically in good shape as far as, you know, mechanically they're in good shape. The draw slides are going to have to be lubricated and everything, but the paint is just peeling off them like crazy. But here's the thing. I get to talking to the guy, and I don't know how it comes up, but he talks about how, well, he actually does have a machinist item at his other place. So we drive, you know, like 10 minutes down the road to this other place, and he shows me the thing he was describing to me, but he didn't know the name of. I end up seeing it. I'm interested in it, and then when I'm trying to formulate a price and work a deal, he says, well, I had a couple other items, but he had put them up on eBay. But they were currently up on eBay, but they had no bids on them. So I was able to convince him to sell me all 3 of these pieces. Actually, only one of them was on eBay. I convinced him to take down the auction and sell me the 1 piece with the 2 other pieces, and I got these 3 pieces for 100 bucks. Today, we're just going to look at these 3 pieces. So check this stuff out. Now, 2 of these items, I know why he didn't have them on eBay, because he probably didn't want to deal with having to ship them. So this is item number 1. So what we're looking at here is a grinding fixture, most likely for sharpening end mills. I'm sure you could use it for other things. I haven't been able to identify a maker on this thing. Give you a look from the side. From this side. And the bottom. Alright, so this is clearly made to be bolted down to the table. Most likely on a surface grinder. And then it gives you, there's a vernier with degrees right here. So you can loosen these screws and you can rotate this way. Okay. In addition to that, there's another vernier, or I should say a scale of degrees around the outside edge here. And there's a line on the top. So you can tilt this back or forward. So you can do a combination of tilt in 2 directions. so a compound angle. It has a 5C collet closer. On the front here, there's this wheel, and my thinking is that originally this would have come with multiple wheels because this one is marked 24T on the front for 24 teeth. So we have a little lever here. Pull out this lever that frees this to rotate, and then you can lock it into the next position. There's a thumb wheel right here that is pretty tight. I haven't figured out yet what that does. But I'm thinking that might positively lock this spindle from turning, because I noticed that there is a little bit of play right in there. Probably wouldn't be a great idea when you're actually doing the actual grind. So my theory is that maybe this locks this tight. You know what, let me just get something to grab that and see if I can't loosen it. It actually doesn't seem to be doing anything. I still think it might be that it's supposed to do what I think it's supposed to do, and it's just not closing enough. And I guess to remove these rings, looks like I see a set screw here, but then there's a there's a place for a Tommy bar right here. So I wonder whether or not you loosen the set screw and maybe this actually threads onto this. I don't know. So if I really decide that I want to use this thing down the road, I might even take the time to fix this horrible grinding damage that's around the nose here. The lip for the 5C collets is still intact, so there's really no reason why I would have to fix that. It would be just cosmetic, you know. But anyways, so not going to worry about it for the time being. You know, if down the road I really think I want to get into this thing and clean it up, fix it up, I might even make some more of these rings. But for right now, I don't have an immediate use for it. But I didn't pay much for it, so it won't hurt to just have it hanging around here. And the next item we're going to look at here is the item he had up on eBay when I was there. And this is a genuine Brown & Sharp model 255 magnetic transfer block. So it's in rough shape. It's going to need some good cleaning. You can see the surface rust on it there. You know, but it is a genuine Brown & Sharp 255. So these are prices on these are all over the place. This one has this little fence on the end here, which is nice. And then by design, you're supposed to be able to put a fence on the side here. So that piece is missing, but that'd be something easy enough to make. So these can be pretty pricey. The funny thing is, though, like when I look at previous ones that sold on eBay, there was one that sold that was in excellent condition in its original wooden case. It sold for $50. I think that was not the norm, though, because that particular one, the description wasn't that great. Somebody was calling it a sign block or a sign bar, I think was what they were calling it. And that's not what this is. So that might have hurt its ability to garner a higher price. And then there was another one without the case that was in good condition. It was like $150 or some crazy thing. So I think he was asking $90 for this on eBay when I saw it. But I figure since I paid $100 for the lot, I figure I'm into this for $25, which works for me. I can clean this up and probably sell it for a few bucks. The reason why I'm going to sell it is because I already have, I think, the exact same one already, so I don't need two of them. But it's not frozen. It works really nice. The action's good. And that brings us to the final item, the heaviest of the three. Yeah, it's an old indexing head. Yeah, so this rust that's on here, some of this was on here when I bought it. And it actually got worse just from sitting in the pickup truck, the unheated pickup truck. I didn't bring it into the shop right away. But, you know, this staining is definitely older. Just try cleaning some of it off of there. So, first question is, can I determine who makes this thing? You know, it's almost got an import look to it. The rust kind of makes you think, oh, it's older, but it doesn't take that long for this time, I think, to rust, so could very well be an import. It's still got keys in it here in order to allow it to sit in the right in the grooves on the milling machine that it was being used on, which is why it doesn't sit flat. And so we could take these out. I don't know if these even fit my mill. Yeah, actually they do, so I'll have to keep those with this in case I decide to use this. So I already have one of these. It's a little bit different size, and it's definitely a cheap import. So if this is like a better brand, I don't know if I'm going to keep this or not. Of course, problem number one, for those of you who know what these are, problem number one with this one is that I have no extra plates for it. It only has one indexing plate on it right now, right here. It does have, this is nice that this is present. So what these are the little wiper arms, okay, that you take the handle off and this would go on here, and that gives you a way to mark your start position and your end positions. So there's no markings on this, so that's not going to tell us who the hell makes it. Yeah, I'm going to take a couple minutes to just go over this with a magnifying glass and a light to see if I could find any information. Well, I just spent quite a bit of time going over this, looking at all the information I could get off of this, and then going online and doing a lot of research. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, definitively, I have no idea who makes this. Unfortunately, the only thing I was able to find as far as a manufacturer's name is the chuck is clearly marked that it's a Cushman Industries chuck of Hartford, Connecticut. Big deal. There's no way of knowing for sure whether or not this is even the chuck that came on this originally. If this is the chuck that came on it originally, the fact that it's a Cushman from Hartford makes me think, okay, probably an older unit, not necessarily an import. It has a lot of similarities, though, to a lot of the imports, but that doesn't mean anything because a lot of the imports are just basically copies of some of the old stuff. The only other identification I can find on this thing is I cleaned up down here in this lower corner and I found a part number, or a stamped number, 5702. Well, I can tell you right now, you can search 5702 dividing head on Google until the cows come home and not have much luck. The 5702 must have some significance because it's also stamped right here, 5702. Furthermore, this disc right here, which I believe is for direct indexing, I think is what they call this disc here. This disc also, if I rotate it around, there's a spot where it's also stamped 5702. So 5702, 5702, 5702. That's 3 places on this thing that are all stamped with that same number. A lot of the imports online that I looked at had this style handle, but they also used this same style handle in this location. A large majority of the ones that I saw online did not have a knob here for this rotating this locking pin to come out. So that might be a kind of a clue. Some of the early Brown and Sharps had that. The problem is, it appeared that, to me, from what I could see online, that a lot of the early Brown and Sharps also were clearly marked somewhere on the base. Although I did see one that had a label here. So if the label had fallen off, you know. But I kind of, I don't know, I don't think I'm that fortunate to have a genuine Brown and Sharp sitting here. The other thing that might indicate to somebody who makes this thing is, I noticed that the base is very square. There's a very small radius on the edge here. Whereas a lot of the earlier ones have a very rounded corner to the base right here. Judging from what I'm seeing online, I think we're missing right here in this hole. It should be a threaded hole. No, actually it's not. Geez, you know, that almost looks like a hole, like an oiling port to put oil down in there. What I was going to say it seems like a lot of the ones that I've seen, that there was a screw in a hole up on top here that held a metal piece that had the arrow on it or the line on it to line up to this. I don't see any other way to line that up. So, yeah, there might have been something that went here. It's a set screw there, or a grub screw. Another thing I noticed about a lot of the ones online is a lot of the ones online had a block or something right here that had a line on it for this scale right on the side here, as far as calculating, as far as setting this rocking piece right here at what angle you want to set it at. So there's no screws whatsoever to mount such a thing here. I think I see a line right there, faint. You know, obviously we'd have to set this thing at 0 or 90 and then check it and see whether or not that's the correct line. Because this has a bevel on it. It's not a sharp corner right here, so they wouldn't be using this. So on other units like the imports, there's a block that's screwed right here, and the block has the line on it. I think that's going to be it. If anybody happens to come across this video and actually thinks they know what this is, you're like, oh, I have that same one, or I've seen that same one, or I've used that same one, and you want to drop a comment, I would appreciate it. I'm not that overly interested in who makes it, quite frankly. It would help maybe when it comes down to maybe getting extra plates, extra index plates, although, you know, could always make extra index plates. My other one that I have is physically a little bit smaller than this, but not much, and I have a full set of plates for it, and that's like an Apex, which is, I think, made in India or something like that. It's some cheapo no-name, but you know, I don't use it that often. In fact, I don't think I've used it once. So this one I'm probably gonna try and find somebody local maybe to buy it. I'll clean it up because it looks like hell in the condition it's in right now. All right, so that's a wrap for this little series of just these little 3 items. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and if you're not a subscriber and you like looking at old tools, please consider subscribing. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. Take care.